This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis.
Good morning, Sharjah and the United Arab Emirates. Welcome on to the Morning Majlis. We are celebrating key achievements here in the Emirates, particularly when it comes to the American University of Sharjah, receiving a silver rating for their sustainability achievements. Now, to understand and the importance of this and to put things into perspective, we're joined very kindly by Rose Armour, the head of sustainability at the American University of Sharjah. First up, good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
Well, it's great to have you here. You've spoken to Pulse 95 virtually before. Now we're here in person discussing sustainability. Let's identify the term sustainability. What is sustainability, and what does a university have to do with it?
It's a very good question. Right now, sustainability is such a keyword out there. So many people are using it and throwing it around. So it's very important to think about what it really means. Mm-hmm. For us, we look at it from the perspective of looking at a sustainable economy as a viable economy, a viable environment, and a viable social people being healthy and happy and sustainable in their lifestyle. So that's really where we're coming from. But what that means at the university is we're really working to make sure that our students have a sustainable mindset. Mm-hmm. So what that means is by the time that they graduate, they are able to think to do systems thinking, to think about the larger picture, not just the economy, but to think about that environment and that social side. They're able to future think. What would this, if I make a decision today, what would this look like in the future? Or what are cars going to look like in the future? What is the future going to look like? So they need to really be thinking at that level, as well as critical thinking. We all know about critical thinking and how important that is. But we really want our students to be able to take these ideas, and when they leave the university, to have the capacity to make sustainable decisions in both their personal and professional life. Because all of us are every student that we have today will engage with sustainability at some level in their professional career, no matter what they're doing.
So, Rose, you are now the head of the AUS Sustainability. So let's talk more about the accomplishments of the university in sustainability. Can you talk to us through that?
AUS has had a sustainability office for over a decade now, so this has been something that's been important to the university for quite some time. Mm-hmm. In the first decade, we really focused on, and this was before my time, they really focused on energy usage, and they made fantastic strides. They reduced energy usage by 30% across the university, which is huge. Mm-hmm. And then in 2018, we got a new COO, Jeanette Vinke, and she saw the success that they had and really expanded the office to not just look at the operational side, but to also look at the entire AUS community. So over the last 3 years, we've been working to look at sustainability in the classroom, to look at student and faculty and community engagement, to look at the planning and administration. Do we have a sustainability plan? Do we have, what is the health and wellness of our, university and our students and staff and those kinds of things? So we've really worked to do a lot of outreach and to do a lot of education. Over the last 3 years, we've gone from, when we first started, we had about 70% of our students were in classes that had to do, that covered sustainability. Now 90% of our students, 95% of our students have classes that deal with sustainability that cover those topics.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You talked during the break about a program. It's called the Eco-Rep program that students, they're taking part in. What is that all about?
This is something that we are super, super proud of. So every term we have about 4 students, and we're actually expanding the program this year, but we have about 4 students who come from the different colleges that do education peer-to-peer. So they host events, they host activities, and they talk to their peers about sustainability. They are really what allows us to stay on top of what's interesting to students and what's pertinent to students. I have my ideas and my thoughts on what we need to be doing, but it's not always relevant for the students and where they are in their space. So our students really, and our eco-reps really allow us to stay on top of that. And the program has been so successful that we are actually expanding it into the resident halls. So we're going to have this term, we're hiring 2 students, one male and one female, for the resident halls that are just going to focus on bringing sustainability into the residence halls. So we're expanding recycling into the residence halls, and so they'll be doing a lot of education and outreach to the students there, because one of the things that's so exciting about working at a university is you get people at a change in their life, and this is the time when they can make changes. So providing an environment in the resident halls that is sustainable, that thinks about recycling, that thinks about a number of different components, allows the students to see a different way of doing things, that this isn't something that they're necessarily doing at home, and it becomes a habit. And then when they leave university, building back on that sustainable mindset, this is something that they do. I recycle, I compost, I eat healthy, I think about those kinds of things. So it's really exciting.
And does sustainability as a term, does it strictly pertain to the environment? Because that's what a lot of people think about when the word is flouted about.
It doesn't. It really. So one of the projects that we're really working on and focusing on this term is diversity and equity. AUS has been recognized in the past for its diversity. It's one of the most diverse universities in the world. It's been recognized as, and we really want to build on that accomplishment and have a deeper conversation about diversity and equity, and make sure that not only our students but our staff and faculty are able to succeed in this multicultural world that we live in, because the health of your workers, the health of everyone around you leads to a sustainable environment. You can't have if you have a super healthy environment but no one's eating, and people are not living well, it's not really a healthy environment.
Yeah, and can you elaborate on that some more? How does sustainability improve our lives in a concrete way?
Well, I think, you can think about air quality. You can think about the removal of waste and the hazards of having waste around. You can think about, it goes all the way down to exercise and being healthy in your lifestyle and in your eating. We're also really looking at this semester to work with the local food outlets on campus and to really promote sustainable food systems. And the UAE has made incredible strides in the last couple of years on the food produced here. And we want to really talk about, people think organic, eat locally, all these things. And really the impact of eating locally has such, it really reduces so many greenhouse gases, so many emissions, so many things, that it's really important to think about those kinds of things. And so we're really working, not only pulling that into the outlets in the food outlets, but taking that into the classroom, doing site visits with some different companies and some different organizations that are doing food production, but then also into the dorms doing cooking demonstrations and those kinds of things.
Tell us a little bit about the student culture as well, because when you have this kind of program, one concern you might have is the teachers are sort of playing, or the people behind this, the faculty, are playing more of an authoritative role, and the students are just playing along. Is it the case, or are students playing a leadership role and coming up with the ideas and sort of leading this thing as you go along?
You know what? The students are really driving a lot of this. This is something that really matters to them, and we have found that they're coming up with ideas. The number of research projects that students are choosing to do based on sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals developed by the UN is phenomenal. We are pulling together a number of and we have so many students that come to us that want to work and want to volunteer and want to do different things. We have a community farm. They want to see where their food is coming from. They want to see what this really means. And so it really is driven by the students and them wanting to pushing their professors to talk about these issues.
So
just one more question. Can you talk to us?
Right.
This is very interesting to me, the whole student thing as well, the student culture as a whole. In this work that you've been doing so far in AUS, do you feel like the message has been sent across the entire campus, where there's a sense that we have a sustainability culture, there is something to do, or are you facing challenges getting that message across to a lot of people on campus? How many people actually care about this?
Well, you know what? The AASHE stars that we received couldn't have been done without the whole community. This goes from the administration prioritizing sustainability, but it goes all the way through the organization to the cleaning staff. We could not have made the strides that we did without them understanding what the recycling is. We do trainings with them. We talk about them understanding understanding what the impact of this. And I can sit in the student center and we'll have some of the cleaning staff come up and like wave water bottles in front of me and say, look, this goes here, this goes here. So they're very excited about it too. So we're really seeing it through the entire organization. The AUS community, the thing that's really interesting about AUS is most of the faculty live on campus as well. So over the last year, we have been, and when we were not having students on campus, we worked a lot with the faculty because that was our community essentially. And it was incredible how much they were demanding. We need to be able to recycle this. We need to be able to address this. What about this water issue? What about this electricity? I want to know these things. So it really is being driven throughout the entire university.
So it's safe to say that students at AUS, their level of engagement, it's been pretty high, especially in anything that's related to sustainability. But my question is, how can we, people outside of AUS, take part in those projects or initiatives that you guys are taking action in?
This is an area that I always struggle with. We are a bit insular, and trying to engage with the outside community has always been a challenge. We work with a lot. We've been trying to build our external partners. We work very closely and do have a great partnership with BIHA has really done a lot with us. Sharjah Sustainable City, we're doing a lot of work there. So and Sharjah Sustainable City is a good example. We will work with them as they're developing more to do research projects over there and to do more outreach and education over there. So that is something that we can start to work with that community. We work with EPAA, the Environmental Protection Agency here in Sharjah, and the students get out and work with communities on sampling and those kinds of things. So we're always looking for opportunities to engage outside of the campus community, because one of the things that is going to, again, going back to that sustainability mindset is being an active citizen and making sure that you're engaged in your community when you in your world. And so making sure that you're talking to your landlord, making sure that you're talking to the business that is in the basement of your apartment complex, and making sure that you're asking them about these things. What are they doing about that? You need to be engaged, and you need to talk to people about these issues, because people are really receptive when you do, but if you don't bring it up, you've lost that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Great achievement indeed when it comes to the silver rating. Now, Rose Armour, as head of sustainability, are you satisfied with your role? And what needs to be done to go to the next step and get that gold rating?
Well, we, sustainability is so important in higher education right now, and our students really do compete on a world market. So no, we're not satisfied. We've definitely made a great accomplishment and come together to do that, but there's always more to do. We're really working to look at the operational side, to look at our resource usage, and to make sure that we're wisely using our resources. We're also, every class that we can get into, whether, we work with the English class, because we want, someone says, how do you engage in English class? Well, you ask them to study to do a report on the Sustainable Development Goals. You can get into any class that you can. There's a way to do it, and we're finding those ways. So really, we have a lot more work to do. I think that our students are continually looking for more from us and continually coming with some great ideas. So we're excited to continue this journey and see what. And we do the report every 3 years. So in 3 years, I'll be back to talk about our gold rating.
Well, inshallah, and we really hope for the very best for your team and the students there as well. So kudos to you. And was it celebrated in a sustainable fashion, the silver rating?
It has been. We've really been promoting it on campus, and trying to, as you mentioned, trying to make sure that everyone knows about it. There are still some people that don't know about us, so continuing to do that. And I work with a fabulous team. I work with we have Julia Carlo and Julia McAllister who work with me, who are tirelessly working to get this out on social media, to get this out and to do different things. So we're trying to get the word out as much as possible.
Well, shout out to your team indeed, and thank you very much for joining us here in the studios to talk to us a little bit more about this. You were listening to this conversation with Rose Armour, the head of sustainability at the American University of Sharjah, after receiving the Silver Stars rating from the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. To catch this discussion on the podcast, you can find it on Spotify and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for The Morning Morning Majlis. We shall be returning back right after the business news headlines.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.